What's up guys, welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. I'm your host Caleb. If you guys want to support the channel, you can click on that Into the AM link in the description down below. Not only will you get 10% off whenever you pick up any of their dope shirts, but additionally you'll be supporting the channel. Another solid way to support the channel is becoming a patron. Not only will it be supporting me, again, additionally you'll get to vote on the deck techs I cover on this channel. Now let's get into today's Precon upgrade after we thank my high contributing patron, Newsome. Now let's get into these Precon commanders, and this is one of those precons where I actually think the backup commander is a lot stronger than the face commander, but I went ahead and already knocked out a deck tech with that guy, so you can go check that out after this one. For this precon upgrade, we will be focusing on Olivia. I do want to cover a rules interaction with Olivia because I see a lot of players get confused by this wording. Now it says whenever one or more outlaws attacks a player or deals combat damage to a player, you generate a treasure token. Something of note, we can trigger that up to 3 times a turn as long as we attack each of our opponents and each of our creatures deals 1 damage to one of those opponents. But if we include first strike creatures, we can actually trigger that up to 6 times because first strike triggers on its own damage step during combat. The caveat to that is a first strike creature and a normal combat damaged creature has to deal damage to the same opponent to get 2 triggers. Now you can expedite this by using double strike, and double strike will just go ahead and trigger your first strike damage and your regular combat damage, getting 2 triggers and getting you 2 treasure tokens. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what the deck is missing. Honestly, I just wanted more treasure token generation because once we get a lot of treasures on the battlefield, we can make those very small mercenary rogues and anything else pretty massive with this commander. Grim Hireling was a no-brainer. Yes, she's a little bit expensive, but I think she moves the needle enough to justify putting her in this precon upgrade. We also have some pretty messed up tech in here like Port Razor. This is just going to give us additional combat steps, allowing us to trigger our commander even more and generate a ton of treasure tokens. Additionally, we're also running the Master Multiplied. This guy was built for this deck. The Myriad ability is going to make sure we get the maximum amount of treasures each turn as long as all of them connect. So if that sounds like a precon upgrade you guys want to get into, let's get into it. But before we do, I will go ahead and make you the same deal. If we can get this video to 500 likes, I will build a non-budget version of this commander. The first thing we're going to add is more useful outlaws. Exodus is going to be perfect here since it has double strike. This means we can trigger our commander twice each turn with this just by attacking one player. Additionally, the Magecraft ability is not useless and will come in handy. Dargo is just going to be a massive pirate that we can cast for 1 red mana. Remember, the goal of this deck is to go super wide with outlaws and then buff them up, so Dargo can really be a lethal threat early on. Breaches is going to be very flexible in this list, just getting more treasure tokens overall, and then additionally it does have first strike, so that will allow us to get extra triggers off of our commander. Lotho seems like a no-brainer here. He's going to sit on the battlefield, generate more treasure tokens, and he's an outlaw, so it works out perfectly. Grim Hireling, in my opinion, is one of the best cards to add to this deck. Not only is she an outlaw, but additionally you're going to be able to generate 6 treasure tokens a turn off of her. That paired with your commander brings you up to a total of 9 treasure tokens a turn. That's kind of insane. Not to mention she's a solid form of removal. Orochi Soul Reaver is another no-brainer in this deck. Honestly, I don't understand why they didn't just shove this in both precons, because again, it's kind of a copy of our commander's ability, and additionally it's an outlaw, so now we can generate more treasure tokens and generate a board state at the same time. I'm super excited to try out Wasteland Riders. This deck can generate a ton of mana very quickly, so now we can go ahead and cast a Wasteland Riders and kind of have it be a pseudo board wipe that also generates us an instant board state. Baracos Party Leader also seems very solid in this deck. He does count as an outlaw, and then additionally we can probably count on having at least 2 party members in our party at a time, so this guy with 1 attack, as long as he deals combat damage, he's probably going to generate 3 treasure tokens a turn. The Master Multiplied is one of those cards that could probably just win you the game out of nowhere in this deck. He's going to start splitting up, you're going to get those Myriad tokens that have Myriad, and then again our commander is a solid way to buff up those tokens, so they can't let this stick on the battlefield for very long without losing the game. Additionally, it's a super easy way to trigger your commander every single turn consistently. Port Razor is also extremely messed up in this deck. Not only is he an outlaw, but additionally he can give us an additional 3 combat steps. That means we get an opportunity to trigger our commander a ton. We just have to make sure this guy connects. Goblin Spymaster seems like a solid include for that reason. We want to make sure our creatures are connecting and triggering our commander, and Goblin Spymaster is a solid way to make that happen. We're going to gift out a ton of these goblin guys, and it's going to make it super difficult for our opponents to leave up blockers. Hellspur Posse Boss, another card that was in the main set that probably just needed to be thrown in the Precon. It synergizes perfectly with Outlaws. Getting into the tech a little bit, we are going to add Marionette Master to this deck. Now, in a treasure deck, this can just end the game very quickly, especially when our commander does buff up Marionette Master. She'll enter the battlefield as a 4/7, but then it's not hard to sacrifice 3 treasure tokens to put 2 1/1 counters on her, and then out of nowhere she's got 6 power, 8 power. I think you can see where out of nowhere this can just win you the game. Baloth also seemed like a no-brainer here. Now we are breaking the bank a little bit, but I think this guy's totally worth it. We can buff him up easily with our commander, and then it's going to be hard for our opponents to keep open blockers because they are goated, and then additionally when those goated creatures die, we're going to get more treasure tokens. Zorn is also pretty busted here because of how our commander's ability works. It triggers each time we deal combat damage to a player. So if we deal combat damage to 3 different players, that's going to be 3 different triggers generating us treasure tokens. So Zorn can just flat up double the amount of treasure tokens we make off of our commander. Blood Money seemed like a solid board wipe here. We can go ahead and wipe the board and we'll have a ton of treasure tokens to rebuild afterwards. And then we're adding Boros Signet. For some reason they added the other 2 and not this one, so we're just going to complete the cycle. Let's talk about some non-budget cards you could add to this deck just in case you want to upgrade it a little more. The new Gisa is going to be amazing. It's super easy to commit a crime, and then you're going to get 2 3/3 zombie rogue creatures with menace. So not only are these incredibly hard to block, but additionally it's easy to make more of them. So having her on the battlefield is going to make it really easy to trigger our commander very consistently. I don't think I have to tell you that Smothering Tithe is probably one of the best cards you could put in this deck just because of how broken it is. The treasure token generation this card has is kind of unmatched, and it just kind of leads to you winning the game 9 times out of 10. Black Market Connections, this card does insane work. You're going to generate treasure tokens, you're going to get a changeling that's all creature types, and then additionally you're going to get to draw more cards. This card does a little bit of everything and works perfectly in the deck. Professional Facebreaker, while it's not an outlaw, it does generate more treasure tokens, and again it's kind of a copy of our commander's ability. So more treasure tokens is just going to lead to you winning the game more often than not, and then additionally it is a solid way to turn those treasure tokens into card advantage. The new Massacre Girl also seems super solid in this deck. It's really going to disincentivize our opponents from blocking us, and then additionally it can be some solid card advantage if they do decide to block us. With that being said, that's going to end this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you are enjoying these daily uploads. I would like to thank my high contributing patrons, Newsom, Excessin, Chicken Salad, and Preator. You guys are amazing, really keep the channel going, and I couldn't appreciate it enough. I hope this helped you in your deck building endeavors, and I will see you in the next one.